going to shift to the breaking news out of Michigan. The mother of a school shooter convicted of involuntary manslaughter.
Jennifer Crumbley was led out of court in handcuffs after being found guilty on the second day of jury deliberations. She is the first parent in the United States to be tried in connection to their child's mass school shooting. Crumbley sat silently as the verdict was read in court earlier today.
We find the defendant guilty of involuntary manslaughter. And in count 4 of involuntary manslaughter against Justin Schilling, we find the defendant guilty of involuntary manslaughter.
NBC News correspondent Adrienne Broaddus is outside that courthouse in Pontiac, Michigan. Danny Cevallos also with us. So, Adrienne, let's start with you on the ground there. What kind of reaction are you hearing after today's verdict?
Zinclay, relief. I just spoke with the father of Hannah St. Juliana, and we also heard from the father of Justin Schilling. Those parents who lost their children in that shooting say today is a step toward accountability, but also looking forward to what is next. Hear more right now.
The cries have been heard, and I feel that this verdict is going to echo throughout every household in the country, and I feel it's necessary, and I'm happy with the verdict.
Jennifer Crumbley found by this jury guilty on all 4 counts of involuntary manslaughter. One parent telling me it's not a matter of if this is going to happen again, but when. And he was referring to mass shootings taking place at schools. Zinclay?
Let me turn to Danny now. Danny, this is an unprecedented verdict, but you have to wonder, will this inspire other prosecutors in other places to maybe charge parents when there's a school shooting?
Probably. Historically, the default rule in America is that there's no automatic liability for parents for the bad things that their children do. Some jurisdictions have enacted statutes. For example, if a child's out after curfew, there are parental liability laws. But the movement has been away from this default rule of no liability to holding parents responsible for what their children do. In a sense, this is a case of first impression because you have the independent act of a child getting a firearm and going and committing a heinous act that was totally intentional, and you're attempting to hold the parents responsible for their recklessness under some very unique circumstances. So I think today's case doesn't stand for the proposition that all parents are always responsible for everything their kids do, but it does reflect society's move away from holding parents free of any liability and towards holding them liable, especially in the most egregious, awful, horrific circumstances.
And Danny, to that end, briefly, we know James Crumbley is set to have trial next month. What might this ruling mean for him?
It has no real precedential value, but for Crumbley, it gives him a first look at what to do and what not to do in court. You may see Crumbley not take the stand because that's what his wife did in this case, and it didn't work for her.
All right, Danny Cevallos, Adrienne Broaddus, thank you both so much.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.